Hey there! Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Today, we have something truly spine-chilling in store for you. We will dive into 3 true rural horror stories that are guaranteed to send chills down your spine. Each tale is rooted in reality, with eyewitness accounts and eerie experiences that defy explanation. From haunted roads and mysterious animal mutilations to ghostly apparitions in the Andes, these stories will leave you questioning the unknown. So, sit back, turn off the lights, and get ready for a journey into the supernatural. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more thrilling content. With that said, let's get into it now.
Story 1. The Ghost of Oxford Milford Road.
Brad Culp, a student at Miami University in Oxford, Ohio, had always been fascinated by the supernatural. The small town of Oxford had a reputation for being one of the most haunted places in America, and this rumor was a spark for Brad's curiosity. When he started an on-campus magazine, he couldn't wait to delve into the local lore and write about the area's famous phantoms. Among the numerous ghost stories, one stood out and captivated his imagination: the ghost of Oxford Milford Road. As the legend goes, in the 1940s, a young couple's love story took a tragic turn in the rural outskirts of town. The woman's parents disapproved of her suitor, so they met in secret under the cover of darkness. Each night, after her parents were asleep, the young woman would sneak out of her farmhouse and signal her lover by flashing the lights of her parents' car 3 times. Her young suitor would then ride his motorcycle down Oxford Milford Road to meet her. One fateful night, the young man took a turn too sharply. The motorcycle went one way, and he went the other. The crash was fatal, and the love-struck young man died from his injuries. Since then, it's said that his ghost haunts that stretch of Milford Road, forever seeking his lost love. Intrigued by the tale, Brad, his girlfriend, now his wife, and a friend decided to investigate one night. Brad's girlfriend was apprehensive. She believed in ghosts more than he did and was worried about what they might encounter. Brad, on the other hand, was skeptical and wanted to prove the story wrong. They drove out to the abandoned farmhouse late one night, the road eerily quiet under the blanket of darkness. As they passed the old property, an idea struck Brad. He turned to his girlfriend, suggesting they try the signal to see if anything would happen. Though hesitant, she agreed, and Brad steered the car into the driveway. With a deep breath, Brad killed the engine and flashed the car's lights 3 times into the night. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, in the distance, a single headlight appeared, faint at first but growing steadily brighter. It was about 3/4 of a mile down the road, moving slowly towards them. "You see that?" Brad's friend whispered, eyes wide with disbelief. The light continued to approach, unwavering and eerily steady. Brad's girlfriend clutched his arm, fear evident in her eyes. As the headlight drew closer, their anxiety grew. It was coming straight for them, closer and closer, and it seemed like a collision was imminent. Brad quickly turned on the car's lights to avoid an accident. But to their astonishment, the road was empty. There was no motorcycle, no rider, nothing. The mysterious headlight had vanished into thin air. They sat in stunned silence, hearts pounding. "What the heck was that?" His friend finally broke the silence, voice trembling. Determined to find an explanation, they got out of the car and searched the area. They walked up and down the road, peered into the dark fields, and even checked the ditches. There was no sign of anyone or anything that could have produced the light. It was as if it had never existed. Brad and his companions returned to the car, bewildered and spooked. To this day, the experience remains a topic of conversation around campfires and dinner tables. Brad, now firmly convinced that something inexplicable had occurred that night, shares the story with an unshakable conviction. His wife, too, swears by what they saw. The memory is clear and haunting as the ghostly headlight itself. For those who dare, the challenge remains. Park your car on Oxford Milford Road at night, flash your lights 3 times, and test your nerve. Maybe, just maybe, you'll catch a glimpse of the lovesick ghost of Milford Road, forever searching for the girl who once signaled him with the flash of headlights. And so, the legend endures, a chilling reminder of a love story cut short and a spirit that lingers. a beacon in the dark for those brave enough to seek it out.
Story 2. Was it people or was it aliens?
Doug Averill grew up in the heart of Montana on his family's sprawling dude ranch, the Flathead Lake Lodge. As one of 8 boys, he and his brothers enjoyed a childhood that was as wild and free as the untamed land around them. They spent their days riding horses, checking cattle, and exploring the vast tracts of land that made up their family's domain. Life on the ranch was an adventure, filled with the kind of rugged fun only a bunch of cowboy kids could have. One summer in the 1960s, however, their carefree existence was shattered by a series of events that would leave a lasting mark on their memories. It began with a gruesome discovery. While out on a routine ride, the brothers stumbled upon 3 dead cows, eerily arranged in a perfect circle. There were no obvious wounds, but their reproductive organs had been surgically removed. Even more disturbing, there wasn't a drop of blood to be found. The precision of the mutilations was chilling. The 1960s were a time when America was gripped by UFO fever, and the local newspapers were quick to suggest that extraterrestrials might be behind the strange occurrences. Speculations ran wild about aliens conducting experiments on the cattle, but the Averill boys weren't convinced. The eerie calm of the scene felt too calculated, too human. Their suspicions were further heightened when they found a lance stuck in the ground with a cryptic note attached. The message was threatening and left no doubt in their minds that humans were responsible. What had started as a disturbing mystery now felt like a direct threat. Then, the bizarre incidents escalated. One day, the brothers stopped at a local bar for a quick bite, leaving their horses packed tightly in the back of a stock truck. They were gone for only a few minutes, but when they returned, they found one of the horses, the one packed in the middle, standing outside the truck. The other horses were still tightly packed, and there were no signs of a struggle. It was as if the horse had been lifted out by some unseen force. The following day, a new wrangler on the ranch suffered a severe accident. He fell off his horse, yet none of the other riders saw it happen. The injuries were so grave that he was permanently disabled. The brothers were left puzzled and uneasy, sensing that something inexplicable was at play. The final straw came when their old camp cook decided to join them for a ride. As he drove out to meet the brothers, the tailgate on his stock truck mysteriously disappeared. His horse, Betsy, fell out and was dragged for miles. The sight of Betsy's injuries was too much for the old man, and they had to put her down on the spot. The cook was devastated. Doug recalls the heartbreak. To be honest, it just killed him to see what had happened to Betsy. We probably should have put him down, too. The string of bizarre and tragic events seemed interconnected, each one compounding the mystery. 3 dead cows, 3 eerie incidents. Each occurrence felt like a piece of a larger, unsettling puzzle. Over the years, Doug would recount these stories around the campfire, though they became less frequent as new tales emerged. Yet, the shadow of that summer lingered in the back of his mind. Recently, he received a call about a down bull, a buffalo, in one of the most remote parts of his ranch. A neighbor had reported seeing a pack of 16 wolves, a rare and alarming sight. As wolves typically didn't attack buffalo, Doug set out to investigate. When he arrived, he found the bull lying in the snow, untouched by scavengers. There were no bullet holes, no teeth marks, no gashes. And once again, the reproductive organs were missing. The snow around the bull was pristine, without a single footprint, not even his own. This latest incident revived the old fears and questions. Were these mutilations the work of aliens or humans? Doug's conclusion remains unsettling. I'd rather it was aliens, he says. After seeing what humans are capable of, I'd pick aliens any day. The mysteries of the Flathead Lake Lodge remain unsolved, a chilling testament to the strange and inexplicable events that one summer in the 1960s. Whether the work of extraterrestrials or sinister human forces, the truth continues to elude, leaving those who hear the tale with a lingering sense of unease and curiosity.
Story 3. The Ghost of La Parva Ski Resort.
Throughout Latin America, the tale of La Llorona, the wailing woman, resonates deeply in the folklore. Variations of her story abound. Sometimes she mourns a lost husband, sometimes her children, and sometimes both. In the Chilean Andes, in a popular ski spot called La Parva, the wailing woman is known as Lola. The locals insist they knew her before her tragic end. A local restaurant owner said he dated her, recalls pro skier Drew Tabke, noting that the ski patroller who shared the story with him even pointed out the exact hut where it all took place. The story begins on a seemingly perfect day in peak ski season. Lola and her young son set out to enjoy the slopes. As is common in the Andes, a thick fog crept up from the valley, a harbinger of a coming storm. The dense clouds quickly enveloped mother and child, and they lost each other in the whiteout. Desperation set in as Lola screamed her son's name, her cries swallowed by the fog. Blindly, she ran through the mist, her vision obscured, until she stumbled and slid down a steep slope towards a treacherous rocky couloir. By a stroke of luck, a local lift operator returning to his cabin found Lola's body. He feared she was dead, but upon closer inspection, he discovered she was still clinging to life, though barely. Her body was covered in lacerations from the sharp rocks, and with her last bit of strength, she whispered her son's name. The lift operator gently lifted her, carrying her up the hill to his cabin. He bandaged her wounds as best he could before rushing to fetch a doctor. The lift operator and the doctor fought their way back through the fog to his cabin. The mist hung heavily, making every step a challenge. When they arrived, they were met with an eerie sight. The bed was empty. Only the bloody sheets remained, and there was no sign of Lola or her son. Despite an exhaustive search, neither was ever found. Yet, locals claim that on foggy nights, near the lift operator's cabin, they can still hear Lola's heart-wrenching wails for her lost child. Drew Tabke, a seasoned skier, doesn't believe in ghosts. However, something changes when he arrives in Chile each winter. Maybe it's the haunting view from La Parva up to Cerro El Plomo, an ancient Incan child sacrifice site. Or perhaps it's the influence of the magical realism woven into the works of authors like Juan Rulfo and Gabriel Garcia Marquez that he has read. But as he sits alone in his cabin in the Andes, with the wind howling outside and the candles flickering, he swears that sometimes he can't distinguish the sound of the wind from the mournful cries of a woman. The eeriness of the story doesn't end with just the wailing. Every year, visitors report strange occurrences near the lift operator's cabin. Some hear disembodied cries. Others feel a sudden drop in temperature, a chill that cuts to the bone. The legend of Lola, La Parva's wailing woman, continues to grow, each retelling adding layers of fear and fascination. Tabke recounts one particularly unnerving experience. Late one night, as he lay in bed, he heard soft footsteps outside his cabin. He brushed it off as wildlife or another skier until he heard a faint, heart-wrenching sobbing. It sent chills down his spine. Mustering his courage, he peered out into the foggy night, but saw nothing. The sobbing continued, echoing through the mist. He closed the window, trying to block out the sound, but it seemed to seep through the very walls. That night, sleep eluded him as the mournful cries of Lola seemed to circle his cabin. Locals have their own tales of encountering Lola. One ski instructor reported seeing a woman in old-fashioned clothing standing at the edge of a trail. When he approached, she vanished into the fog. Another skier claimed to have felt a hand grip his shoulder, only to turn around and find no one there. These stories, whispered over campfires and in the warmth of the lodge, keep the legend of Lola alive. Despite his skepticism, Tabke admits that the legend has a hold on him. There's a certain magic, a certain terror, in the unknown. Whether it's the power of suggestion or something truly supernatural, the story of Lola, the wailing woman of La Parva, remains an enduring mystery. The foggy slopes of the Andes hold their secrets close, and every now and then, those secrets escape in the form of a mournful wail, reminding all who hear it of the tragic tale of a mother's undying love and eternal sorrow.
Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to listen to similar stories in future.